Before I get into the video, I just gotta say that if you guys are a fan of Naruto and if you guys are a fan of the man known as the Legend Mac, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to his Naruto channel because he just opened up the Naruto channel and he'll be uploading a lot of fire and a lot of that lasagna over on that Naruto channel. So if you guys do enjoy the Legend Mac, who is one of my great YouTube friends, make sure you guys go ahead and check him out at his Naruto channel. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video. Now, in case you guys have been living underneath the rock, Fairy Tail has sadly just aired its final episode of the final season. But what if I told you that a new Fairy Tail episode was right around the corner, and not only was it going to be 100% canon, but the author Hiromashima himself has been hinting at it ever since Fairy Tail has ended. Yes, you guys heard me right. Ever since Fairy Tail has ended, which means that he's been hinting at it for approximately, let's say, I want to say about 17 hours. But no, in all seriousness, basically Hiromashima, he has been showing us that there will be a new Fairy Tail episode after the final season. And I've been telling everybody, do not worry, because I know some of you guys must be thinking, yo, this season is called the final season, underrated Mage. There is going to be no more Fairy Tail after this. What are you even saying? But no. I'll be here to tell you guys that that is 100% false. Even though it is called the final season, it is only the final season of the original series of Fairy Tail. Yes, of the original series of Fairy Tail, because if you guys have been living underneath the rock, because I know there's a lot of you guys, some of you guys are on that Patrick Star syndrome and you're still underneath the rock. Listen, I get it. But if you're one of those people, you would not know that Fairy Tail does actually have a new sequel series that is not a part of the original series called Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, and I 100% believe that will be animated because of the recent news and the recent tweets that Hiromashima has been dropping. So we have to obviously look at the beginning, or I guess you could say the ending of the first Fairy Tail series, because that did lead into Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest being confirmed. And all I'm going to say is great minds think alike, because a lot of people, you guys are messaging me, commenting me, saying stuff like, yo, it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like a new arc was going to begin. And yes, that's exactly how it felt when the Fairy Tail manga ended. So with the final episode of Fairy Tail, I'm here to tell you guys to rejoice, because this is going to lead into a new episode of Fairy Tail, and we have to look at this episode, the final one, not as a finale, but basically as a starter for a new arc, because there was a lot of hidden gems that did actually lead to the hints of the new episode. I have to discuss them along with the hints that Hiromashima did drop. And the first thing that I do have to discuss is Natsu versus Actilogia, or I should say the Dragon Slayers versus Actilogia, because let's be 100% honest. Natsu did not defeat Actilogia by himself, and I know a lot of people, they might be disappointed. They might think that the final fight was bad. They might think that Natsu just one-shotted him, this, that, and the third. But let me just tell you guys that no. If you're one of the people who think that, you are 100% wrong. And I can say that proudly because I was one of the people who thought that too. Yes, when the Fairy Tail ending just happened and I didn't have time to think about it, because when something just happens, you get the most recency bias. You're not really thinking straight. It's kind of like shock value. So after being a manga reader and after seeing the ending and seeing the Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest story play out, you go back and you can actually see how this episode does set up for the new episode of Fairy Tail. And this fight alone shows you that Natsu didn't beat Actilogia with his own strength. And that is a very key thing, because it goes to show you that yes, while the Dragon Slayers, keyword, the combined strength of the Dragon Slayers, why they beat Actilogia, that does not mean that Natsu himself is on Actilogia's level, which obviously does mean that he does have a long way to go in terms of strength, which does mean that the story will obviously continue. But the main thing that Actilogia did do was he acknowledged Natsu as a king, not because of his power, but because of his ideology. Because we know Actilogia, he was basically sold on being the strongest. He wanted to be the only person to be able to rely on himself, and we know that Natsu, his whole ideology is relying on his friends. So that is why Actilogia ultimately did decide to name him as the king. And we see with this final fight, because Natsu relied on his friends, that's how he was able to defeat Actilogia, which just go to show you that Natsu, no, there was no one shot. It was not Natsu's strength by himself. No, basically look at it as a 7 7-on-1, or I don't know if you guys actually see this, but a Dragon Ball movie, the old school Broly movie, when Goku combined all the energies of all the Saiyans. That's basically what Natsu did in order to defeat him. But no, in all seriousness, Acne Logia versus Natsu, the fight might seem a little bit spooky on the first time you watch it, but once you rewatch it, trust me, it makes a lot of sense, and I promise you, there are no one-shot assholes here. And speaking of one-shots, we have to discuss Anna, because a lot of people did think that she got one-shotted. Yeah, when she sacrificed herself, a lot of people thought that she was going to be done, but she has been confirmed alive, and this is huge news because this actually does lead into me personally, my favorite Nalu moment. This was when Natsu actually does confirm that he likes Lucy, because Gajio obviously teases Natsu like, yo, Anna smells just like Lucy, and then he's like, yo, that's why I like the smell. And at that point, Natsu was just ultimately just say he's all in on Lucy. But no, in all seriousness, we got to see couples they got to get hugely confirmed, and this is the big thing for not only the people who do like couples, but for Fairy Tail Next Generation. Because what if I told you that Fairy Tail Next Generation has been leaked in this very video? Yes, I'll discuss that later on, but we do know that Gajio and Levy, they actually do confirm that they're going to have a kid, which that is obviously super huge news, because that's going to be the first kid of all of the main characters of the main cast of characters. So that is going to be interesting to see. And let's be honest, the Jerza and Groovia moments, they were both self-explanatory. I mean, it was just some classic moments for those two pairings. And with this being said, that definitely is a huge indication that the new episode of Fairy Tail, it will still be showcasing the pairings, and it will still have a lot of the aftermath of some of the pairings that did go down. And speaking of pairings, I discussed the biggest pairing in all of anime and manga. Yes, Zeref and Mavis, because they have both been revived. And all I'm going to say is that this might be confusing to a lot of people, because it was confusing when I first read it. I'm not going to lie, but no. This is not an illusion. This is not no dream. This is 100% true. Zeref and Mavis have been revived, but they do not have their memories. They only know themselves as Arlos and Mios. And we do know that Zeref and Mavis, they cannot die because of the God Ank'Sram curse. And even if they are like killed, they are basically going to be reborn either way. So it really doesn't make any difference whether Natsu was able to defeat him or not. Zeref was still going to be here regardless. And that's why we see that he was end up being reborn. And I definitely do think that this is huge news, because this sets up for them to be a couple for either Fairy Tail Next Generation or for Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest. Because yo, I'm not counting out Zeref and Mavis coming in on Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest and them actually playing a huge role, because who's not to say that they won't actually regain their memories and remember who they were from their past life. And I definitely do think that that could be a huge plot for the future of Fairy Tail. And I'm going to say, to be honest, the anime did an amazing job when it came to explaining the manga, or basically animating it. We've seen that, or at least from a manga reader perspective, the anime, I think that they explained it thoroughly way better than the manga, because there was really no confusion towards the end. And I feel like that it kept the same vibe that the manga did, because like I said, a lot of you guys were messaging me telling me, yo, underrated mage, when's the new Fairy Tail episode coming out, because it didn't feel like an ending. And that's exactly how the manga felt. So the fact that the anime was able to keep that and do the same thing definitely does mean that they did handle the animation well. And to be honest, when it comes to the final season of Fairy Tail, I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of people that say they didn't like the new season. They say that it was bad. Some people say it was just as bad as 2014 anime. If you're one of those people, I'm like, whoa, you gotta chill. Because me personally, I actually did enjoy the Fairy Tail anime a lot. But what if I told you that the new episode of Fairy Tail has been confirmed after this episode? Yes, this will not be the final episode of Fairy Tail, because the voice actors for the final season of Fairy Tail, they have confirmed that they want to do Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest. Yes, Natsu and Lucy, they have literally confirmed that they want to do the Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest anime, and that means that it's going to be 10 billion% easier to animate, just because they already will have their cast for the new characters, and for a lot of other characters that will want to be on board, so it won't be as hard to animate and gather a new cast. But Hiro Mashima. Listen, this is why I love this guy, because he literally confirms on Twitter that there are 2 new titles. Yes, there are 2 new titles that he cannot reveal, which means that they are super important. Because, yo, let's be honest, if these 2 titles were not important, then he would just be able to say, yo, he will be able to just reveal them like whatever. He will be able to just reveal them like they were nothing. And we've seen in the past Hiro Mashima, whenever he wanted to do spin-offs, that I'm not going to say they weren't important, but they weren't as big as a Fairy Tail Next Generation. Like, for example, the Gray spin-off or the Laxus and the Twin Dragon spin-offs. He was able to announce those quickly, whereas he says that he has to keep these hidden. And he said this in a tweet where he revealed the heroes, so it has nothing to do with heroes, which I believe that it won't have to do anything with heroes because he mentioned it in this tweet. And this just goes to show you that it is going to be a very important thing. And Kodansha, Hiro Mashima, all of them, they're all super excited for these 2 new titles. Yes, not just 1, 2 new titles. And if you're asking me, if you're asking Underrated Mage what I think these 2 new titles are, I definitely do think that one of them is the Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest anime. I think that Hiro Mashima definitely wouldn't want to reveal that they're making a 100-Year Quest anime right after they reveal, or right after they show the finale. Because come on, that would just be, you gotta let the finale sink in a little bit. You can't just announce the sequel right away. But I do think that there's a chance that he can announce a Fairy Tail Next Generation manga. Yes, that is what I believe that his second title will be. Either way, I do believe that it will be huge Fairy Tail news, and you guys can definitely believe that if I do not have videos covering what these 2 new titles are, I will delete my channel. Like, don't even search up Underrated Mage anymore, because the channel will just be unexistent. You won't even see me anymore, because these 2 new titles, I promise you, they will be some huge Fairy Tail related news, and they will shake the world for all us Fairy Tail fans. Comment what you guys see down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.